Welcome back. Now, about 100 top officers, including generals, brigadier generals, air vice marshals, and admirals in the Nigerian Army, Air Force, and Nigerian Navy may proceed on compulsory retirement following the appointment of new service chiefs on Monday by President Bola Tinubu. The signal gave July 3, 2023 now as the deadline for the officers to retire from the service cut across the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Now, the statement dated June 26, 2023 was signed by Major General Yakubu Yahaya on behalf of the new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa. According to the Defense Headquarters, affected officers must exit the military, quote, in order to preserve and uphold the tenets of the military profession, which values hierarchy and service discipline. Now, the planned retirement of the senior officers across the three services is in line with the long-standing military tradition that officers who were senior to the service chiefs would be retired. Now, this is happening 6 months after 24 major generals and 38 brigadier generals retired in December 2022 after they served the nation for 35 years. However, what are the possible repercussions of retiring over 100 generals from the armed forces of the country? Joining me now to discuss this is security expert and retired colonel of the Nigerian Army, Stan Labo. Mr. Labo, Hassan Stan Labo, I should say. Mr. Stan Labo, thank you very much for joining us on the program. 100 generals retiring just because of the appointment of the new service chiefs. I know this is in line with military tradition, but how serious is this? I mean, how detrimental could this be to our military?
Well, thank you so much, DEJI, once again for having me. The retirements, like you have just said, go along with military traditions. As a matter of fact, you can't be seen to be serving under your junior or want to start answering your junior, sir. Once your junior is promoted above you or availed an appointment above you, the way it is now, it's only proper that you've got to go, because the entire military makeup itself is built on a regimental structure which does not allow for seniors or superiors to all of a sudden overnight begin to answer their juniors, sir. As to what this will mean to the Army in terms of the description you've just made, you see, the Nigerian Army has become quite robust. When I say the Army now, I'm using that in a generic sense, cutting across the entire armed forces. It has become quite robust enough to be able to find persons with capabilities that can fill whatever you may see as the gaps left there. Do not forget that the way in which training is structured in the Army and manpower development rather is structured is such that we move on in courses and continue to take all the relevant training required to fit into appointment and fit into higher appointments a step or two above yours, all right? And so, frankly speaking, there would have been no problem, or there would be no problems to fill up those gaps.
Let me ask you this, Colonel. What is wrong, for instance, if that tradition is not followed? What is wrong, for instance, if these generals are not retired and they just continued in service? Is anything wrong with breaking with that tradition?
A lot to be wrong with breaking that with the tradition. In the military, we don't compromise seniority the way after retirement, I see in the civil sector, where I don't know how to describe it, but a situation where you find a junior tomorrow giving orders to his seniors and so on. The military is too jealous of its seniority structure. Okay, you don't break with it. It's a worldwide, it's a global practice, and that is why when you find robust military like we have in the US, the UK, Nigeria, and so on, it is well practiced and nothing goes wrong at all. So the idea of even, placing on the table some funny idea of it, what What if we do not do this? No, what are you talking about? That somebody who came into the Defense Academy 2-3 years maybe after myself now becomes Chief of Army Staff and I still remain there? Will I not pay the Chief of Army Staff compliments? Oh, you are bound to. He's your chief. Would you not serve under him as a staff officer or a director of one department or the other? I mean, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for military discipline because the military is structured in a manner that discipline must prevail. It's a military. It's not some
sorry to interject now, but let me ask this.
Yes,
what do you make of a situation? I mean, we retired, as I said in my intro, we retired over 20 generals in December of 2022, and now we're letting go of 100 of them. I'm just wondering, what does that do to the capacity and the human capacity now of the Nigerian military? Because, look, whether we like it or not, this is a huge trove of human resource that we're actually putting away, and some of them are actually not due for retirement anyway.
DEJI, I agree with you that some very good hands will be leaving by virtue of this policy implementation. Find some very good hands to be leaving. But has some very good hands to be leaving, that's how other very good hands will be coming on board. Okay? That's how other very good hands will be coming on board. Look at the service chiefs, for instance. Did you hear of some of them in the past? Look at somebody like Ogala, the naval chief, who has been a fantastic A student all through his career, coming first or second, in most cases first. He is just emerging now as a chief. All along, he's probably been in one instructor appointment or some staff officer here, or holding some senior command appointment here and there, and so on. There are brains. Nigeria is so blessed. Nigeria is so blessed. And the filtering custom or the nature in which the recruitment into the Defense Academy takes place is such that some of the very best young kids, because you come into the academy in your early, in most cases as either you're 19, 20, 21, in most cases 19. Just coming out of secondary school, maybe. And then the filtering process is such that the very best are picked. About, is it 10 in each state? In my time, it was, I think, 5 in each state or so. Now, I think maybe it has gotten to 10 or so because we're increasing the strength now because there is a need to expand the military. So you find out that the very best are filtered out from the society and brought together and nurtured with the military culture. These very best brains, some of them are genius. You wish to see the degree, at the end of the day, their degree certificates. A good number of people coming out in first class and so on. They are brains. So this same healthy rivalry continues and sustains the military, giving it all the sort of, capacity it needs to forge on as a military. The Nigerian military, when I look back, I'm always so proud. All we need to do is to see how we can bring these galvanized advantages to play in addressing our security situations on ground.
Can we say that, I don't know, I don't know what you'll make of this now, but, I'm still just going to ask it. I'm just wondering, do you think that, to prevent this kind of thing from happening, because just as you said, we've had this over and over again, but to prevent this kind of thing from happening, should we probably put a law in our constitution that will make it mandatory for a president now to pick his service chiefs from the most senior military officers in the army? I'm just wondering, from the most senior military officers now, from the cadre of the seniors, rather than going down below now to choose the service chiefs, thereby forcing some of their seniors who are not even due for retirement to retire.
It doesn't have to be a statutory issue, DEJI, okay? Because if you look at, even as we speak, the service chiefs were all picked from the cadre of major generals, 2-star generals. All right? From the cadre of 2-star generals. From that, 4 of them, 1 will be picked who will emerge as the chief of defense staff, and that's Musa, and he becomes a lieutenant general. All right? It does not have to be a statutory issue if it has become a thing of tradition. Look at the British Constitution. Have you forgotten that the British Constitution, half of it is not written? It's based on traditions and what have you. This is it. It's well known. If I'm a major general today, I'm a senior to somebody who was just picked, a course behind me who was just picked, fine, why not? The prerogative for the selection is that of the commander-in-chief, who is the president of the Federal Republic. Of course, acting on some advice, yeah, he might not see himself going right down to pick from 1-star generals and so on. Of course, he could, you know, remain within the cadre of major generals. And amongst major generals, you have about 2-3 courses who are already major generals. And you still find very good brains there. If, however, like some of us believe, not until now that look, when you are beginning to have a larger army, it becomes something of a radical practice. If, for instance, the commander-in-chief were to go down and start picking a colonel or a very junior brigadier general as his chief of defense staff or chief of army staff. No, that wouldn't work in a situation like Nigeria. I mean, this is a robust army that is fast growing. How many divisions do we have now? We're talking about 7 or 8 divisions. That gives you about 2 armies. Each army is made up of 4 divisions. Okay, if I still remember my teaching very well. And some of us are still pressing that there is a need to expand the army or expand the military more. Because looking at our size in terms of land, looking at our population, looking at our commitment globally, contribution of troops to war, under the UN system, and so on and so forth. The role we've got to play at the sub-regional level in West Africa, the leadership role we've expected to play at the role of the African Union, and so on. Nigeria is such a big country to which a lot of African countries look up to for leadership. So we must be thinking 2 up when thinking about our military.
All right.
Okay?
All right, Colonel. We want to thank you very much for your insights. Thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for your time, sir.
I appreciate very much, DEJI. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a short break. Now, ex-Governor Yerima urges President Tinubu to dialogue with bandits in northern region for lasting peace. That's what we'll be talking about next. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.